Hi, this video on project management explores specifically how to resource a digital transformation program using OpenCRVS. Now you'll recognize a number of these work streams from the video introducing the planning element of a digital transformation program. So we'll start off first of all with project management. Naturally, we need a project manager to manage and provide oversight of the project scope, the project work plan, and of course the risks and issues associated with the project, ensuring that these are mitigated and managed throughout the course of the project. And of course, they're responsible for managing the overall resources within each of these work streams and making sure that they're all working towards the same North Star goals and objectives. Then you've got business analysis. Starting off by analysing the processes, this workstream is also going to be responsible for business process improvement and service design, thinking through what service delivery models are going to be required that OpenCRVS is going to enable. They're also going to be responsible for understanding the current context and defining system requirements that may be missing within the system to respond to these needs. And finally, they're going to ensure the delivery of the solution to specifications and needs that have been identified. The resources associated with this workstream will be a design analyst, and in the best case scenario, you would use some design researchers to fully understand the current state, current challenges, and work with end users and customers to identify needs that may not just be specifically technical or functional. Then there's the infrastructure workstream. Of course, the solution needs to be hosted. That will either be on-premise or hosted in the cloud. And a DevOps engineer of some sort is going to be responsible for setting up, installing, preparing, and then managing and maintaining the solution infrastructure before, during, and throughout the operational support phases of the digital transformation program. A design and development workstream is required to design the functional and technical features that the business analyst and design researchers have identified. What is this going to look like in the UI or the UX of the solution? And how are we actually going to build that? The technical resources obviously are going to manage a development team, build features, and then after manage and maintain the solution. The designer will also be QAing the designs of this. So the key roles associated are a designer, a technical architect, and software developers. Critical to the success of a digital transformation program, and before piloting begins, it's incredibly important to test the solution. So a test lead is required to oversee the comprehensive testing of the solution. That's both functional and non-functional tests. And conducting quality assurance will be the QA engineers, people who are testing a whole suite of test cases as defined by the test lead. We've got a training workstream. Now, a training lead and then a group of trainers, obviously dependent on the training strategy and approach that the training lead will develop. So the training lead will design and develop the training approach and the materials. They will conduct the training. That might be training the trainer, but also directly to end users. And this team will be responsible for monitoring, updating the training program on an ongoing basis. So throughout the iterative learning of the piloting, how can the training program be improved? And also, are the materials relevant for different people with different levels of digital literacy and understanding? The deployment workstream is responsible for developing the deployment approach, plan, and the relevant tools associated. This will include a deployment lead and a deployment team. The deployment team are the individuals who may also be trainers who will go to the sites and ensure that they're ready, prepped, conduct training, and set up and roll out the system. The change management workstream, as we discussed in the project planning section, incredibly important component of the team. The change lead should be responsible for designing and developing a change management approach that is appropriate for the country context, understanding all the different users and customer needs and how to communicate with each one. They're going to be developing the change management content and materials, again, taking into account different levels of understanding, capacity, and literacy. And they're going to manage the change management activities and monitor their effectiveness. Now, the individuals responsible for change management, in addition to the change lead, will be all members of the project team, but also a network of change champions that the change lead will create. These change champions are usually staff members of different levels of the organisation responsible for civil registration, who are going to be telling their colleagues and encouraging other users around them why this is such a great solution. Monitoring and evaluation is absolutely critical, especially during the piloting and scale-up phases, but also during operational support. Now, an M&E lead will be responsible for defining a continuous improvement approach. We call it continuous improvement because we want to continuously improve the product, solution, and rollout of the system over time. And in order to do that, this lead is going to have to define key performance indicators in partnership with the Civil Registration Department and their objectives, along with the tools to measure them. Now, some of these indicators will be monitored by the system, and some are going to have to be done in person through surveys, observation, and other methods. The M&E lead is then going to be responsible for conducting these continuous improvement exercises, obviously with individuals supporting them to do so, especially when at scale. And finally, the service support workstream, which does need to be defined and set up actually quite close to the beginning of the project to make sure that the team who are responsible for this can learn during the pilot and scale-up period and then be confident when they are full-time conducting operational support. So they're going to be responsible for defining a user support approach, but also providing tier 1, 2, and 3 support. Now, this support might be provided by different individuals and organizations, but the team required are going to be an application management and support lead, a service desk to be able to obviously respond and manage user support queries, and an application management and support team. The size of that team is going to be dependent on the size of the country, the number of users, and the specific needs of the country context. A team is so important to make sure that an effective digital transformation program can be conducted. So we really strongly advise considering all these different work streams. And while key roles may not be fulfilled by individuals may have a number of different roles and responsibilities. Please do consider all of these when you're preparing for the team who's going to be implementing OpenCRVS. Thanks very much and see you in the next video.